So what you can hold them for mouth? Welcome to Matters Arising. Kingsley?
Yeah.
What's if I hold you for matter?
No, you know, yeah, the song was changed yesterday.
Yeah.
From now our mama be this, so now our papa be this,
so we now get another one. And they truly they didn't contest like what happened in Delta State.
No.
It means that there's improvement in Nigeria in the integration of the people.
Yes.
From Aso Rock to the
Tinubu is working.
to the ordinary person.
Maybe
Tinubu
they were
is
thinking of the Friday. Tango, it's going to be Friday.
Friday today. You know, sometimes we only see progress in terms of physical infrastructures and all that. Reintegration and also acceptance of our tribes and our, you know, building the bridge between the government and the governed. It's a progress.
Yes.
You know, the president going to Anambra State and well, he was welcome. And no matter how you look at it and think it's theatric, I mean, it was planned or whatever it is, but he was welcomed. You understand? So, and this is a governor from opposition party. How good can you have it? You know,
it's good. Him going to Anambra State was good, but I should have wished that he should have gone more to other states before now.
Okay.
In real terms.
Because his first official visit was in Enugu.
Yes. And I also wish that is more of real term. Supervision, not on political basis.
Well, Philip talked to us this morning that visit, where it depends on how you are looking at it, that is governance, that the president will maintain. Maybe Philip, if you can help us one more time before we move to other things we want to discuss.
Yes, you know what I was saying is that the president official visit to Anambra State yesterday is all about governance, because what did he went there for is to commission projects executed by the governor of Anambra State.
Yeah.
And so it's purely governance. There were no room for political campaigns. Yes, there were a mixture of politics and all of that, but if you look at it on the whole, he went there to perform his role as the president of the nation, commissioning projects executed by the governor of Anambra State. So for me, it's all about governance.
And particularly coming from opposition governor. So had this been just APC, you could say, oh, he has gone ahead for campaign. And if the president got there and saw some good works, there's nothing that stops him from giving credit for who credit is due. So I think we should take it in good faith.
Well, let me also weigh on that, the way I see it. Now, a governor doing project doesn't do project with the federal government's money.
Yes, certainly.
It does the project with state government's money.
Which is the people's money.
Which is the people's money.
Yeah.
But there are also presence of federal government infrastructure in the states, because there are roads that are called trunk A roads, trunk B roads, and whatever you have. How many trunk A road do we have in Anambra State?
Maybe that visit was also an opportunity for him to.
That's just an assumption. You know, that's number one.
I agree with you.
Then what are that infrastructure that should have come to the states? As from federal government, because you know there's a replica of governance from the federal government and the states. There are universities, teaching hospitals that the federal government should have also bring to the state. They have rights to bring to every state.
They actually have teaching hospitals.
Yes. How many have been upgraded as a result of federal government influence? So we should also see that when the governor invites a president to the state to commission, this is what we have done. The federal government also should match their own efforts.
And say this is what we have done.
This is what we have done
as a federal government. Probably have a joint commission so that we see effort, celebration of the input of the governor and that of also of the president.
Simple.
But at the end of the day, if that of the governor has worked, and probably for any reason that of the president hasn't worked, because the president is about 36 states, sometimes they are not able to carry on with all projects at the same time. You know, you understand what I'm saying? Sometimes they have to start from somewhere. The trunk A road you are talking about can be a road connecting Enugu and Anambra State.
There are some that are like that.
And if they started the project, for example, from Enugu State, they won't say until we complete it in Anambra State before the president can visit you.
No, they don't have to say
that. They don't have to. So let's move forward to one of the things we have. Yahaya Bello's $760 that was echoed. Oh, as a governor, he paid so much for a child, and even to a PhD level for somebody that was still a baby. So,
meanwhile, people are not eating.
Yeah, we are getting to understand that the school have no way of knowing that this payment or this money was from a government coffers, because on the evidence of payment, of course, in their own statement of account, there is no indication of a name showing this is a government, either Kogi State government or even the local government or any agency that is, directly involved. Yeah, so they may not have the duty to continue to investigate backwards. Like somebody selling something, you don't have to spend all your time. If the person coming to buy what you are selling is paying what you have asked the person to pay, you may not ask him, did your money, were you paid by government or you were paid by this, But yourself, you say, oh, let government pay to you directly. That is why you might start raising questions. Why is government paying for you directly? So do you think the school has any additional duty to start following any payment made? If what we agreed you are going to pay for school fees for 10 years, you have just paid from private accounts. Philip?
The school had no duty whatsoever. In the first instance, it was not even the duty of the school to be a witness in the trial bus. Yeah. You see, the problem, we've said it before, now we'll continue to say it again, that the so-called EFCC, I don't know how much they are trained to do their job. You have a crime, you are empowered by law to ensure that financial crimes are tamed. But you only go to the press and just make noise about a financial crime committed. But you have not been able to show that you are doing your job. Because what is the offense of the school?
Yes.
The school is a business enterprise. People bring their children to school and their word, and that's what they are asked for. If somebody has come and look, let's enter into agreement, I want to pay for this my child for as long as it remains here and beyond. The school welcomes it, so there's more money for them to do business.
Exactly.
Instead of waiting for people to pay, or parents coming to beg that we can't pay now, give us somebody is paying ahead. That's all. So I think the onus is on the EFCC to do their job properly.
To check the source.
Yes, it's not to, witch hunt the school who merely doing their legitimate business by accepting students and payment for the student that they have in their institution.
All right. Looking at this case, oftentimes receivers of money for services rendered are being haunted in some form. Let's just say maybe I'm a car dealer, for example. You tell me what you do. I say, okay, KYC normally and all that, because everybody have duty of that for any business. KYC, you tell me what you do, you pay money. Okay, I accept money. You go with a car. And they'll be, for any reason, they say, oh, this money is paid by the person that bought the car works for government, blah, 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 blah. At the end of the day, you can't probably lock my account or do things like that. But I've just done my normal business. You as an investigative officer, why not go through the source of the money? And as a matter of fact, let me put this. When Jonathan made a statement that we should separate goat from the yam, we all laughed about it. Why is it that our agencies, especially EFCC in this case, are not proactive? Before any money, 1 naira leaves the coffer of government, because it's cheaper. They say they stitch in time saves 9. Preventive measures are usually more effective than curative measures. Why don't they have this proactive way of even preventing this money from being paid before any money leaves government covers as for pay for goods or services or works? These are essentially what they pay for. Salaries are almost static. They know what those ones are. Why don't they vet these things? Even issue a kind of a pass through their portal before it goes out. And it's not after going out you start hunting, cost of presenting case haphazardly, like you said. Can't we curtail that?
They may not be able to check how money goes out.
Why?
Because the source of of forgery or corruption may bypass them.
Why?
Because the government of the state.
Not only states. No, this case in the state.
No, I want to address the case of the state first, because it may go wider.
Okay.
You know, the state has the power to do what they are doing. Okay. Projects, this, that. Now, what they can only check if these projects were executed or if these monies were stolen. But myself and Philip, we spoke off camera and said, because I was wanting his opinion on the particular this thing. EFCC, most of them train with the Metropolitan Police.
Not really invested, like financial investigation.
Yes, they train. I know quite a number of them. They go for training all over Metropolitan Police in London. You know, for example, if you, as a prime minister, for example, you are not supposed to travel in business class, or you are not supposed to do this and do that, they will first of all ask you where you got the money to do that. Well, now, if Yahaya Bello has a salary, he has declared his assets and is in the public domain. Now, where did Yahaya Bello get money to pay for future of his children? Do you understand? Oh, he paid so and so to Nigerian American International School. Where American International School comes in is that this money, was it paid to you? He said, yes, we have received the money. We are
okay, let me come to you with these preventive measures, because in some form, that is probably the only thing that is going to solve corruption. Why I say only is when you pass the point of payment, you are going to spend more money in chasing it. As a matter of fact, it will spend money in running EFCC itself as an agency. So, and they will spend money in taking all cases to court, because EFCC is not a court. They have no final powers. Okay, they are prosecutors. It is cost, apart from their staff payment. We understand that they also spend money in hiring SANS. And oftentimes, if their case is weak, because of public euphoria or hearing the governor or whatever, or any other person, they'll still want the case to get to court. Let's not go into what happens within EFCC, whether they should actually engage those lawyers or not. If they have internal auditors almost in all the agencies, even in state agencies, if EFCC have a way of networking the internal auditors of all these agencies, let's leave the battle that where the governors wanted to say, oh, EFCC have no jurisdiction over state money. You know, let's throw that aside. We're assuming they have jurisdiction over any money that belongs to government in this case. Is there no way of reintegrating these internal auditors who are supposed to vet anything, every $1? Because that's their job with EFCC, so that we spend less effort and resources in chasing what has already gone out. We kill it from the source. Is there no way we can do that, Philip? You know, when you were, putting the question forward, you did mention that we don't only spend money to run EFCC and pay salaries. They also hire SAN. Yes. And your analysis, you also said because of profile cases, they want to take it to court. They not only went to court, they also spend money in the media. And we can save that if we have nipped, this in the bud. Added to what you said, yes. The money they spent to go to media to blow everything out of proportion, those money could be saved. Now, he has told us clearly how much Nigeria spent to train a person of EFCC, to the fact that they are sent to London to be trained by one of the best police organizations in the world. Why do you think we embark on that? Is to ensure that these things are nipped in the bud. But what do we have today? Corruption. With all that training, they still not do what they needed to do. Like I said, we're speaking off camera. And in our own enclave, we just said, if they had done this, they won't get to this. For instance, in the case of Bello, for instance, when Bello becomes governor in his first tenure. Yeah, his first tenure. He declared asset. What he has, the business he was doing, whatever thing he has, is within the government coffer. Then maybe when he became governor the second tenure, he upgraded his asset, may have earned more money. All those are within the coffer of the EFCC. EFCC can easily call for those. And if the man has paid $760,000 for his children's school, whatever it is, in advance,
All the EFCC need to do as an investigating officer is to call for those, those the asset declaration form and invite the man. You'll be governor for so. This is the company you have before you become governor, and this is the business they are into. And you've been governor, this is what you've been paid for this period. Where do you get the money to do this? The man will cave in. And that's why you want to have in the Western world that when a man is arrested that this man committed this crime, by the time they said this man is arrested, they are taking it to court. Most time you find out that they plead guilty. Because the investigation was already concluded before they even
statements have been made.
So when see, I'm going to where the question is, if we have such organization that is effective, nobody will commit crime, because when you commit the crime, you will be fined out.
Because there'll be thorough investigation. Exactly. It's not like you hold somebody down before investigation starts. And at the end of the day, you'll be under pressure to go to court.
They rush, the organizations rush to go to court. I don't know if you understand. Without conclusive...
What do you mean organization? Like EFCC?
Like EFCC. Yes. Without conclusive investigation.
Without investigation.
Okay.
We go to court and say, give us 14 days to conclude our investigation. Which investigation?
So why did you arrest the person? On what basis did you arrest the person?
If you check where they train, the CIA, the FBI, before they will say you are under arrest.
Investigation is done.
It's completed. Finish.
So they will just bring the paper.
They'll say you're under arrest. You have the right to
They just want a confirmatory statement from you.
You have the right to call your lawyer.
Yes.
Because you know what they have done.
Yeah, you actually have a right to silence.
Yes. They won't do anything. They won't even ask you.
In America, they call it Fifth Commandment. Yes. You plead the Fifth.
Yes,
Fifth Amendment.
It's only when your lawyer has come in, they will not confront you with the evidence.
Yes.
It is your lawyer president. Your lawyer will not advise you what to do.
Yes.
Yeah. But what do we have here? Once they just hear information, they will want to come and arrest you. Then they will go to court. So that you get results.
You can't get results.
Look, let me tell you.
So you see that the question you ask, if that is the way it's been done, things are done properly.
Yeah.
You have nobody will go to say that it's going to steal money from government coffers, because no matter how you steal the money, you are being monitored. And if you are being monitored, you know that your sin will find you out.
Yeah.
But do you know people even boast? They say not be EFCC.
Imagine.
I mean, they water it down.
Water it down. Imagine. So, do you think there's going to be a policy change for all these our agencies to be more effective and be more focused? One of it, too, without diverging, is for them to also concentrate on the crime, not chasing clout.
Okay,
chasing. Do I use the word? Leaving the real criminals
and going
chasing do I call them innocent person?
Looking at people's phone.
Yeah.
That are going around the
children driving
locking people's account.
Yes.
Illegal.
Locking people's account.
People that they are
struggling to survive in this economy.
Look, let me tell you. First of all, go to the act that set up EFCC. Go to the act that set up ICPC. All these policies are already there. But you see, in our own way of putting corruption everywhere, these things, they ignore these things. It's things from up to down. They ignore
the truth is that the agency we have today in Nigeria, the EFCC, the ICPC, the police, they are the government of the day. They are the hunt dogs of the government of the day. Yeah. They will only do their job properly if the government is interested, if you are in opposition.
And if you are in opposition.
If the president is interested.
Yes. So that's what they will do their job.
Because the box sort out is.
But the other day, in all fairness, for example, although this issue is not all about only EFCC, yes. The EFCC boss came out to say that they are not under the control of the executive, as in what to do, who to, because people were saying, oh, all these ones moving into APC, are they undercover? He said, no, we still do our job. We don't have any interference from the presidency.
But there was nobody that came out and say somebody is telling them to leave cases alone, or these people that are jobbing. He's the one that came out by himself.
Now let me ask you a case. Let me ask you a case for that. This case of Bello now. How many months did the EFCC declare Bello wanted?
It was for several months, and when he reported the EFCC, he reported inappropriately.
So
they said he didn't report the way
in your life, have you ever heard that a Fogiti walked into an establishment looking for him and said you didn't come properly? Whereas when they declare you wanted, anybody that sees you anywhere has the right to arrest you.
Meanwhile, the same agency went in the night somewhere in Anambra, before we lost a very gallant officer.
Yes.
If he was commanded properly that you should have invited this person, if you actually know his address.
Why are you going in the night?
Then you shouldn't even, for the fact he has a known address, he has a phone number, he has everything, you should have sent out invitation. So for you to know address where to go by night, you know address where to deliver later. Because you also have a phone number where to call or send text message. True. If the idea is to get him first.
When you say nobody asked to not to do any case. This case of Bello we're talking about. Do you see this case going anywhere now?
And mind you, sir, it's not this only school fees case that is there.
Yeah.
There were other cases.
Yeah.
So why are we leveraging only on this school
because that
case?
has been created by this case.
Yeah. Exactly. So the other ones that you have that he paid for, like he said, bring in this guy. Where did you get money to pay for this and this and this? You are not worth this, and you have spent this. This difference, and there's a law that says if you have to spend more than what you have, and you have been in public office.
Well, let's move a little bit further to issue of money again, but this time in Kaduna State, the $350 million loan during El-Rufai time. Nobody has said he stole money or whatever, but because now we have a political tone where the current governor is reported not to be in alignment with El-Rufai. When things like that exist, if news like this come out, you are always trying to weigh it to be able to be sure you are balancing it. That almost 12 local governments didn't benefit from the program that was flag of urban development for the entire state. That they are paying this loan, but they didn't see what it was used for. I don't know if you were conversant with that.
Not too much, but I think that's one of the mistakes El-Rufai made. A governor or a president is a president
for
of the whole nation.
Yes.
Whether they voted for you or not.
Yes.
That's democracy. Democracy is.
After see as you visiting Southeast.
Exactly.
No matter how you look at it.
He didn't get up to.
They didn't vote for him, so you still give him that credit.
Do you understand?
Yes.
Now the majority have their way. The minority have their say.
Yeah.
But when it comes to governance, you govern everybody. The states, I don't know which particular local government thing benefit.
Kauru and the likes.
So
Zango Kataf.
Okay, and that's Kaduna South.
South, yes.
Now the administration concentrated its effort in developing Kaduna North. Zaria, Kaduna town and all that. River, exactly. So if were to be that he behaved or acted like McAfee, in fact, they even gave McAfee a name.
It's John. I remember Pastor
John.
Pastor John.
So he treated the state as one state. And the moment governance is about the welfare and well-being of the people, not about tribe, ethnicity, or religion, you see acceptance. For example, somebody told me, he said in Sierra Leone, he said the way they celebrate Christmas, that's the way they celebrate this thing. He said on Friday, you see somebody going to mosque. On Sunday, the same person is going to church. Do you understand? No, until I schooled in Kaduna and I know how it is, and I know the friends I have in Kaduna. Yeah. That's why you see now the development didn't come down. But Ubasani, for example, right now, is extending that hand. So he has become
and
very
that's why those who are beginning to get voice.
Very popular.
They are saying that some of those projects were actually flagged off. Some were started. Could it be that by exigencies of time, certainly not all projects initiated must be completed at the end of the tenure of any government? Okay. Could it be that some of those projects were ongoing or he decided to concentrate efforts in certain areas that it wasn't because maybe they didn't vote for him or something? Philip?
Well, I don't have much information on this, but one thing I know in governance, especially when government is taking loans are taken for special projects. In this country, the federal government has taken loans, and the loans were concentrated on the northeast, not because they said they are, there's a word they use for them that they are backward or something. So they needed to bring them up to date.
Yes.
So I don't know whether this particular loans that the Kaduna State government took under the leadership of El-Rufai was specifically meant for...
No, it was actually for the entire state.
So that's why I said
but it must be tagged to...
No, it was for urban development for the entire state.
So if it's for urban development, this local government that are claiming
just
that,
about 12 of them
that didn't benefit, and can they be classified as urban area? So
the idea was to distribute it even across all the local government, to urbanize.
Yes, but to get my reasoning. So if they are not,
they are.
So there will be a problem. But if they are, then I want to align myself with it. But aligning myself with him, I also want to take myself to the question, the statement you made. Is it that he didn't do anything at all, or he started and never finished?
Some started, some
so if he has
no attention,
yes,
you know.
So if he has started some, but because the time he started there was too late. Maybe he started from the north and is walking down south. Yeah. By the time he gets to down south, his time is up.
Okay, let me update you, Philip.
Yes.
The money is being deducted from their allocation.
Yeah.
That's why you deduct money from our allocation.
So that's why they are crying.
They're crying. Forget that you didn't do for me.
I'm coming to that.
Okay.
So by the time he gets to down south, his time is up. But what happened to the money? Was the money spent? If the money is spent, I think...
If the money should be proportionately deducted.
If the money, I think sincerely that those people that benefit from the project should be responsible for the repayment of the project.
That it didn't come to us, but we are paying.
We can't pay for what we didn't.
This was the language they used. That we can't pay for what we didn't benefit
that's my take.
Yeah. All right, let's leave a little bit of money to... what Akpabio, a little rift, well, maybe you call it a little, but they know it's not little. Rift between the minister and Akpabio, you know, the Senate, in attempt to attend to insecurity, came up with a resolution of having a kind of seminar, or how do I call it, kind of, I won't use the word symposium, you know, security summit, you know, where stakeholders will come and suggest ideas on how that will be done. You know, even on this table, we talked about where people are dying. There more quicker, you know, measures should be adopted and all that. We didn't know that this resolution of coming to talk about security, you know, from stakeholders didn't go down well with the executive. The minister was coming to say no, that the Senate were in error, you know, trying to do things like that, that the heads of the agencies, heads of the security agencies are well equipped more than the terrorists, and that they know what to do. That issues of those kind of summits is not necessary. It's not to use the word that is unnecessary. So now Akpabio, the Senate now said no. If you think that our resolution was unnecessary, you should have written to us, not putting it in the public domain, trying to set us against the executive. They are so scared. The Senate, which is meant to checkmate the executive are so scared of being set against the executive. Well,
okay, I think what the Senate is doing, they are moving away from their role, primary role, a little bit, to go into other people's role. Their primary role is to legislate on laws.
An oversight.
An oversight. See, the oversight come later. The first thing is bringing out laws, right? And putting it into the executive. Now, go and check, because I listened to Senator Abure. Abure said, I am a landlord in this house. He said, we've had this summit over and over and over again. What has it produced? If they invited the minister, for example, because they want to say they want to do a summit, and a lot of money will be spent in this summit while people are dying. I remember Roosevelt. Roosevelt pushed his chair back and said, God damn it, guys, people are dying, you are talking. He said, let's move at once. Those are the things they should do. Minister, what are we doing? Brief us on the state of security in the nation. Not to say we want to now have a summit. Summit at this time? No, we are past the level of summit. The summit they've had before now, what have they done with them?
Okay, Philip, how do you look at it?
You know, you said it all. The Senate, they are so scared of the president. I won't use the word executive because they were installed to do the human job. So, when they step out of what they are asked to do, and somebody is pointing it out to them, they shiver, and that's what happened. He said it all. What is a summit to a dying body? What do we need summit for? Because you want to amass more money to yourself. Because the summit,
and somebody will organize it.
Yes. Without plan, you bring resource person to speak about what? Are we not aware that people are dying in Benue State? Are we not aware that people are being slaughtered in Zamfara?
But an alternative voice, if not for the resources that will be squandered at the summit,
yes.
Okay, alternative voice could also say that such summit, if made open, could be opportunity where the ordinary person can also come.
What about all the summit they be
I'm coming, and that's why I said alternative voice. Not as a substitute for commanding the head of the security agencies to take immediate action. Two things can happen at once. As a matter of fact, the summit does not even disturb the actions of the executive or the head of the security agencies. You know, the open summit, if it is a public one, could, like I said earlier, if not for the money that they will tag on it, on the organizing of it, could be opportunity for ordinary persons from Benue. Say, come, I am from this local government. Look at the identity of those attacking us. Look at what we see. Look at, you know, there are some insinuations that the terrorists have superior weapons than our military. But the minister is saying it's not true. So the people would also come out.
Let me cut you short. You said the ordinary man from Benue, from Zafra, who is then divided?
That's just if they could.
So when you know that it's not going to happen, why would you agitate for it? Yeah. So, like he said, if they really mean, okay, they want to talk with the executive, they should have invited the minister and speak with him. Because there's no way in this country that they will bring the ordinary man from Benue or Zafara or Plateau to come and speak on what is on the ground. It is for themselves.
To make money.
They go to one cruisy place and eat dinner, eat lunch, drink tea, share money, and say we have come with a resolution, XYZ, and nothing will happen. In fact, as they are holding the summit, terrorists will do more harm. More people will be killed. Are we not in this country? That's why.
But you begin to wonder, what is the now? So, are you giving the credit to the minister, or you think there is something the minister was scared of that might be discussed on the topic, or the minister was being prudent in managing the resources of the country?
The truth is that I don't support either of them, but the people who are scared are the Senate. The minister to Elijah is being prudent because they are going to make those money they will spend for this, for the summit come from his ministry, which is money they will use to even, fight against these terrorists. Because they will compare it to bring money.
You see, it's not about who is right or who is wrong. It's about what is right.
What is right? That is it.
What is right is that there is a committee on security. They can call.
We have agencies, established agencies that fight insecurity.
We have the national security advisors.
Exactly.
That what we need summit for?
What they need to do is to call. The summits have been done. What have they done with those?
That's
summits?
what the
very percent.
Because it was being honest.
Yes, it was being honest, and he's a member of the Senate.
And they were shouting down on that resolution, on his own submission.
Exactly. So now call these people. There's a way you can call them. Tell us your tactics, right? Yeah. So that we can be abreast with the tactics that you are using to fight this Boko Haram or whatever insurgent and all that. But I think they look at the other. The House of Rep was inviting is this Zamfara State Governor and this thing. They are stepping out of line. They should stay in their confines of what they want to do and do it well. That's all.
Okay, let's come to this Akpabio. Somebody that participated in this an INEC officer, is it Honor? I've forgotten that his name. He's been convicted for electoral crime, but they are saying somebody that benefited should actually resign in some form, But I think about 50-something, what is it called? NGOs wrote, civil societies wrote demanding for his resignation at some point. Now another coalition are coming up saying no, Akpabio need not resign. But can you see opportunity where it could be that even though certain things went wrong, maybe Akpabio never asked anybody to do what was wrong? Do you think he should resign, Philip?
You see, we must get the fact clear. This convention that is in the news, is it the one that has to do with this present election?
No,
the one in 2019?
No, the one in 2019.
So if it is one in 2019,
yes.
The offense was not committed now in this office. Yeah. So I see no reason why they should ask him to resign. There was no benefit from that because Akpabio was not elected to the House in 2019 because he lost.
No, he was.
Because of
he lost.
He lost.
He lost.
Oh, he lost.
He becomes he was a minister now.
Yes, he was.
He lost and became a minister.
And then they compensated with
Niger Delta, yes.
So we have to be objective.
He lost.
So why the call for his resignation? Like you rightly said, did Akpabio ask? Even if he asks the man is an adult. If he chooses to commit the crime because somebody has to, then you pay the price.
You know, I've always said it. If you remember, you can't even hide under your boss that my boss ordered me to do something that is wrong. You are only meant to obey lawful order. I can't order you to kill Philip because you know that murder is wrong.
It's wrong.
So you can't even, if you can't hide under ignorance, you can't even hide, I know, and I am ordered to. So that one is even, if ignorance couldn't protect you. So you understand. But you have a mind of your own.
Under political, let's say maturity or integrity, we have seen a lot of people resign.
No, but this has nothing to do with...
no, let me finish it.
Yeah.
Now, we must begin to practice what you have, political integrity. You can deny that you didn't send the person. But if the person did it for you, and the person is in that position to do it for you, we would have believed, even no matter how you deny, and the law cannot hold you responsible for it, for the fact that the person did it for you. Under
morality has a different threshold.
No, I agree.
Let me tell you, and it is what you believe in.
But the democracy to which we are copying.
Okay, let me tell you, in Nigeria now, for example,
yes,
it is not illegal to have multiple wives. But in America, it's a crime to have 2 wives.
That's the morality.
Even in this case, in law, if Akpabio resign, assuming it was the election that brought him, it's an admittance that he's part of that crime.
Exactly.
So he will go for it. You understand? So
it's exchanging value for it.
There's no evidence linking.
It's like forfeiture of assets.
Yes.
In place of being prosecuted or whatever. It means you committed the crime.
There's no linking Akpabio to the crime. And one of my strongest reasons that they are saying that he's enjoying the proceeds of the crime. What is the proceeds of the crime? That's why I asked the question. Is it the election that brought him to office now or another election? And you said it's 2019 election. Akpabio was never elected in 2019.
Because they kept talking about it.
I remember it was Mike Dini, who was the commissioner of INEC Akpabio that implicated that returning officer. And Akpabio was not got elected. So the man has not done anything he has to do.
You have to know, in a political space, we have to be able to separate right from the wrong.
Right.
Because people, once they hear the sound of anybody in the office, they just form that animosity against the person. Each case is different.
Maybe this present case, yes, but maybe his sin has been mounting up. because not even morality, for the fact that he came into the house after elections were primaries were concluded.
That's the different matter. You don't have said it before. That's the different matter.
Let's look at it. No, the animosity towards him or against him right now is the fact that his cup is full. So the people want to use his seat to punish him and punish him.
Okay, let's go to Abia State, so that let's move a little. There is this accusation that the governor is living in a rented apartment while living the complete...
No, that the governor is living in his own apartment.
No, they said it was rented too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's living in a rented apartment. Why using what is it called?
Why he has left the government house?
Yes, the current government house.
Furnished.
That the current government house is furnished, but it's not. So the issue of it that came out, more information coming out, is like Abia State before Otti were paying rent for a house that was also owned by the government. And to the extent that people, because they were paying that rent, people thought it was rented. So, Philip, what is this tradition of paying rent for something already owned by government? How are they not able to prosecute those that are involved? You just throw these things into the media space, push it this way, and the issues of refuting whether the current secretariat or whatever is completed or not, that is within their books. Do you understand? The other people came up to say, we finished it, we left the furnishing for you. But issues of accusation of paying rent for what you own. There was one time, it was, I didn't see it in the budget. I think that was during Buhari time that they were paying rent for Aso Rock or something like that. So issues of paying rent for what is owned by government, and nobody is being prosecuted for doing that. Why are we leaving this untouched?
Well, that is the problem we are facing in this country. We have said it before that corruption has eaten deep into the fabric of our nations. When Abia State is a young state, I think it's created alongside with Delta, Bayelsa, and the rest of them.
They're no longer that young.
I'm going to somewhere. Okay. So when those states were created, there were no government establishment. Houses were rented. So the book shows that the government were operating from rented apartments. So the corrupt official that came after, they were using.
But the Commissioner of Information said they bought it.
No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm telling you why they rent. They can successfully claim rent.
Okay.
So they hide under the books for that period of the creation, even though they've outgrown that. But the book has not been updated, so they can conveniently steal with that information. So what has happened in Abia State with all this, Otti being who he is today, is a shining star in governance, transparency, honesty, and all of that. To show that all this allegation that he stays in his own house or a rented apartment, that is not true. He invited the press and took them around and showed them through his Commissioner of Information, all that has been happening before his emergence as a governor, and how he's trying to correct these anomalies. Are you getting me?
And the operations for his own personal house.
Exactly.
Versus the one they say the current government house
that they were paying rent for.
So he showed that
this government has, the government has bought it over.
The government has bought it over, yes.
But look at from here now to this time, they'll be paying rent on it, and somebody's be collecting money within government. But I am staying in my own house. They are accusing me of staying in a rented apartment. I'm not charging government for that. So you see the scenario. So Otti is trying to reveal.
Sorry, it was the government house that he was operating from. Yes.
So he's trying to reveal to the people that look. That is to us, the masses that look. These people who are putting this story in the public, the actual people who were siphoning government money through this means, and have blocked this, this channel with which they siphoning money with. So they are trying to fight back.
What problem do they have that he was operating from that government house that was rented, and it was still owned? Because now they want to turn the one that Ibazu built
to a hotel.
No, he said. He said that look. The one claimed to be built by Bazo, one is built in a residential area, and government is supposed to be separated from where people are living, one. And two, it was not completed as they claim that it is completed, that it is inhabitable. But again, it's not even built in such a way that it will be used for governance, that government will turn it to investment. He is the one saying that. And that they will build a befitting government within the government house complex as it is today.
Okay, now Otti living in his own house, operating from a government house that is owned by the government, but people reporting that it's being rented, that is a rented government house, and turning what was built in residential area to a hotel. That's prudence.
No, you see, the issue is that...
Is there a record that in his own personal house that he's living in that is charging them?
No. They wanted to look for something to talk against, and because I listened to his interview with El-Rufai, he said, I didn't want to talk, but they came out and started accusing that he has a well-furnished government house, but he stays in his own personal house.
That's for living.
Not inside Umwa.
That's for living.
For living.
Okay.
So he told them and told the Commissioner of Information, take Rufai to the house.
The well-furnished.
The well-furnished house. And saw that it was only the first floor, the ground floor.
That was furnished.
That was furnished. Not fully finished.
Yeah.
Now, from the first floor, nothing on the first floor. The walls are not even plastered. Now, on the issue of where the government house is now,
yes.
Government had bought the house.
Yes.
It's owned by the government, but they still collect rent.
The previous government were paying rent.
They were still paying rent to themselves. That means there's record. Then he still talked about the airport, for example. He said the money, a loan was collected to do the airport. He said the reason I don't want to talk, he said, I don't want to be chasing what I should not be chasing. I wanted to just focus on governance of Abia State and give Abians.
But this current government house now, is it like Otti is still charging that same rent that the former people were charging?
No, not at all.
So what are they?
They just want to look for something to. Their major issue is that why is Otti not living in?
Or that he's living in his personal house.
But
issues of that personal house, if you look at most government officials, even some FCT ministers and things like that, a lot of them that have their houses, I don't think there's any law that compels them
to live in that house.
To live in the official residence.
No law comment. As long as you don't charge
the
cost of furnishing your personal house. Do you understand? And all that. You know, I think they're just looking for something to say. But Otti, as studious and as diligent as he is, brought out this fact one by one.
Okay, we're talking about housing. Ododo came in Kogi State and actually created the Ministry of Housing. It wasn't really existing like that. They said everybody was very happy. But just about how many years gone now, the Ministry of Housing, they say it has not built even one room.
Or room and parlor.
So, what is the Ministry of Housing?
So the guys were basing their argument on the fact that he created a ministry for housing, then also that they have the largest deposit of cement.
So they have two companies,
Dangote
and
Boa.
Okay.
Do you understand? So why is he not building?
Is it Boa or one other company? Boa is
Laviage or something.
One name like
one
that.
Other name. You know, but I think there's still the presence of Boa in Kogi State.
Okay.
You know, so why is he not building these houses? Now, if you check Ododo very well, during the time of Bello, Bello wasn't paying salaries. But Ododo right now has stepped up. He's paying salary. So the people they are drawn towards him. Now, I think what it needs is time, because housing is not a paramount need.
Take note that governor's allocation increased dramatically upon the removal of subsidy. They have more money.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yeah,
that cannot immediately
that doesn't make wicked governors not to be wicked.
Certainly.
Do you understand? If the time that some of them were not even paying salary, it didn't mean they couldn't have paid salary. They prioritized other things to salary.
You shouldn't owe salary.
You shouldn't owe salary.
His
wages. Do you understand? Now, I think that Ododo is looking at it from the fact that maybe it's not a priority. Housing is not a priority.
But they say that it's a gross house deficiency. Down deficits rather.
Yeah. Well, only him will be able to tell us why he created a ministry that is not.
Okay, a Ministry of Housing created to attend to housing deficit, but hasn't built or planned or collaborated with private sectors to build houses for the people. What is the efficacy of it?
The truth is that to criticize is very easy. When you're in governance, you know more than what you think you know.
Yeah.
When you create a Ministry of Housing, there are a lot of things to be done before you can start building houses for the people.
Yeah.
First, the ministry has to acquire land. I know the process of acquiring land. When they acquire the land, the government need to pay compensation. People will not allow you to come into their land to start building until all those issues are settled. And then the Ministry of Town Planner, they need to plan out the houses you are going to build. It takes time. So I think the criticism is too early. Even if Ododo didn't achieve anything for the area of housing provision in Kogi State, the mere fact that he has created the Ministry of Housing, a foundation has been laid, it should be commended for it. So that when all these are put together, and then they've acquired land. So maybe so they have about 20 local government or more. If you want to spread it or within the capital city, you need to look for a suitable place to acquire land, the community need to be settled, the families and all of that. You need to pay compensation. The Ministry of Lands and Survey need to come and survey, and the planners need to do all of that. It's not overnight. When you say government is going to provide, it's not the normal house to build every day. I'm surprised somebody said, I don't even build a room or a room or parlor. Is that the kind of house a governor should be providing for his people?
Actually, the ministry, in some cases, do not even get directly involved in the building.
Oh, it's like you took it from my hand. Because they are supposed to be a supervising ministry.
Yes, that's right.
So that private investors will come in and build. Yeah. They'll create an atmosphere to which they can build. Yeah. So what they need to do is to attract investors to come and build so that they will spread it, maybe for civil servants and all that. You know, during Abacha's regime, government was into a lot of building in Abuja here.
Yeah, particularly Gwarimpa.
When Obasanjo came, he said, no, this is not what we're supposed to be doing.
That's right.
This is supposed to be pushed to the private sector. So what I think Governor Ododo should do is to, through the ministry, provide an enabler, like he said, they need to create land, acquire land. You know, land is owned communally.
Yes.
Though there is a land act decree
that gave the ultimate power to the state.
But it doesn't also work that way.
It doesn't work that way. We can't go to people's farmland and take over.
That's what is happening in Abuja here. Look at when the military took over from Baggy people. I mean, they've been fighting. Do you understand? I think they just started settling some of those issues. That's even federal capital territory.
Yeah.
Talk more of this land. Come on, they should give him a break on this.
All right, let's go a little bit on the political end of this discussion. Pat Utomi has established a shadow government, you know, and that he's going to appoint people into all the cabinet position, and that one of the reasons is to checkmate this government. He made it clear that they don't have any executive power, no legislative power, no, they don't control any resources. It's just more of criticizing government policies at any of your position. If you are the Minister of Works in shadow government, your duty would be to be evaluating what the current Minister of Work is doing and providing solution. He went ahead to say that if they end up stealing your solution and use it and it ends up working, then we are good. That's fine. After all, we are Nigerians, I will benefit. And Moka, publicity secretary of APC, had come out to say that Pat Utomi and co doing all this shows how liberal Tinubu's government is. Then when people talk about try to criticize this government of trying to shut down opposition or gag people, that for you to be allowed to establish a shadow government shows that this is the extreme of freedom in any government. How do you think this shadow government will help, and where do you think they might run into any kind of friction with Moka again coming out to talk about it?
I think the question you should have asked me that, is there room for shadow government in presidential system of government? The answer is no. You can only have shadow government in places like Britain.
And it's not single-handedly formed?
Yes. So it's formed by political parties.
It's formed by political parties.
The main opposition political party.
Yeah.
So I don't know where Pat Utomi derived that idea from. I won't say power. So how is he going to fund it? Where is he going to get the funding from? I mean, if you are thinking of, checkmating the government, there are other avenues.
There are opposition parties.
Exactly.
Opposition parties
for me, Moka is even very liberal. He should have told you straight away that there's no, in this system of government.
No, he said it.
There's no room for shadow government.
Yeah, he said it.
So, people should not play to the gallery. But Utomi should be serious for once. He should think of what to do.
What do you make of his idea of shadow government?
I don't think it's a bad idea. You see, the concept to which you put it is what is not communicable in a way. Now, the shadow government, is it going to have a building where they legislate?
No. The idea is they don't have any authority.
The shadow government?
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
They don't have authority. They don't
have anything. So it's not a shadow government.
According to Oshomola, I said 2 people in a room tweeting.
What does it make of anything?
Exactly.
You see, so I don't think you should have said shadow
government. It's a very legal thing in Britain where they operate parliamentary and political parties meet to form it.
Not even that they meet.
Cabinet.
When the parliament is sitting, the opposition will sit on the other side and be throwing jab at each other.
yes.
I don't know if you understand.
Yes.
So
I don't think you understand what the shadow government
exactly, he doesn't understand. He's an economist. He should come and hire political scientists like us.
Big tent will form what? Which,
You know, so
so
you can't prosecute him on that.
Yeah.
If you prosecute him on the fact that he's going to form a shadow government, no. Is he forming a shadow government by having an office? The ministers, they report every day. Because this shadow government that is formed, most of the projects too are still be funded by government in Great Britain.
That's right.
No, so here now, what they should have said, he said, I'm going to form an opposition.
And actually, don't just form a shadow government. There should be a resolution, a law leading to an agreement that we want to do this. It has to be empowered. There is no room for that here.
Yes.
He should do what Obi is doing. And just criticize policies and form a kitchen in his house and say, all of you come and all of you come and be eating. This policy, who read engineering? This policy is it good? So after they finish, they will bring it out. This one on petroleum. This one on this one.
We have a lot to talk today, but unfortunately the time is against us. Thank you guys for coming to help me throw light on this. A lot of them I didn't have. I needed to have light on them. So thank you guys for coming to do that. Hope you'll be here next time on Matters Arising to help me throw light into some of this. Thank you, viewers, for hanging around. And just like I thanked my colleagues for helping us throw light into this, I'm actually thanking you more. Without you, we won't be here. This is Matters Arising. Until next week, hang on, please.